Car chases are dangerous and unpredictable. Viewer discretion advised.
Breaking right now, it looks like we have this pursuit in Jefferson Park. It's been underway for a few minutes now. KCAL's assignment editor, Mark Liu, is at the desk with all the details. Mark, what do we got?
That's right, Ross. This one just started up. LAPD officers from the Olympic Division were actually following this vehicle here a short time ago.
Yeah, look at it go, Mark. You can tell the truck there going at a very, very high rate of speed. Fortunately, no one on the road, at least at this section. That's a good thing. Well, we see there's something in the back there. This is a felony suspect, we understand, traveling here down Fifth Avenue. It looks like he's slowing down a little bit, a pedestrian there. That's always the dangerous part. We still have no idea how many people inside the truck, whether they have weapons or not. It looks like he's slowing down here, Mark, as he gets back on West Jefferson Boulevard.
Okay, sorry, Ross. We were just working on getting my mic working there. But yeah, you are right. This is a felony suspect. Don't know what kind of felony driver the driver is wanted for. But LAPD on the radio called this out as what's called a Code 6 Charles suspect. That is sort of a catch-all phrase that the police use to indicate that this driver was wanted for a felony. And LAPD was following this vehicle on the 10 freeway and then lit him up. And it appeared that as he was getting off the freeway that he might be yielding, but then this driver just took off, and then that is when the pursuit started. The other thing that the component of this pursuit that the LAPD air unit is disseminating information to the units on the ground is that there is apparently a stolen handgun inside of this vehicle. That is information that was relayed to the units. It's unclear how the officers know that that is the case, but the officers on the ground have been made aware that at least one of the occupants inside of this pickup truck does have a stolen handgun. Now, you had mentioned it's unclear how many people are inside of this truck. LAPD doesn't know either. The air unit overhead that was tracking this was trying to get a good look inside of the cabin of this white pickup truck. Ostensibly, there could be, it's an extended cab, so there could be as many as 4 or 5 people inside. Those windows look pretty darkly tinted, so it may be difficult for both units on the ground and the air unit to try and get an idea of how many people are inside. But it looked like this vehicle was driving, obeying the speed limit while they were on the freeway, but as soon as the lights and sirens came on, we began to see this kind of aggressive behavior. And you see here, we are in a residential neighborhood area in Lamert Park, as this pickup truck now looks like they are trying to get around some of the cars here. Now, I just noticed with SkyCal, they zoomed out a little bit. It doesn't look like there are any trailing units here. So I'm going to get in touch with the assignment desk and see if they have gone into tracking mode here and see if there is still an air unit overhead. Ross, give me 1 second. I'll be right back with you.
Yeah, and you know, Mark, it's always disturbing when we know that there is, in fact, a weapon inside this truck here. As Mark just mentioned, we don't know how many people are inside. You can see there the windows are heavily tinted. It is an extended cab. That means there could be 4 or 5 people inside there, perhaps only 1. But police will be following this closely here as we make another turn going 60 miles an hour. Because now the stakes have gone up dramatically. A weapon inside, this stolen vehicle pursuit now going down into the Crenshaw neighborhood, driving erratically. As Mark said, they were driving the speed limit and apparently obeying traffic signals until the pursuit started, but now they're going at a high rate of speed. You see LAPD's chopper flying underneath us, our chopper, SkyCal, up in the air. And Mark, it looks like there is some sort of ATV or motorcycle in the back of this truck, but at this point, we don't have any information that the truck itself is stolen yet, do we?
No information that this truck is stolen. The want, as I had said before, on the driver was for a felony warrant. Now, we're still working on trying to figure out what kind of felony warrant that is, but I can tell you, Ross, one of the reasons we're not seeing any lights and sirens behind this truck right now is that the watch commander and the commander in the air unit have decided to go into what's called tracking mode. We have seen this strategy before from LAPD, especially when dealing with suspects that possibly may act aggressively or dangerously in highly populated areas. They have backed off the ground units. They are trailing at quite some distance, probably out of the view of SkyCal right now, and they are going to give this driver some space and only follow him with the air unit in hopes that he wouldn't do things like this. Aggressive driving is what they don't want to see. And you can see there is one of those LAPD units from the Olympic Division that is still behind this pickup truck, but they don't have their lights and sirens on. They're going to stay a reasonable distance behind just in case this driver jumps out and runs, but they were hoping that perhaps backing off those ground units might calm this driver down, perhaps make him think he's not being followed anymore, and perhaps get him out of the truck. This is the goal of when they go into tracking or surveillance mode. Get the driver out of the truck. It drastically reduces the danger level of any pursuit as soon as that driver gets out on foot. Now, we haven't seen that yet, and it doesn't look like this strategy is working right now because this driver, as you can see, Ross, starting to speed up again in a residential area, and this could get even more dangerous.
You know, Mark, you just saw there was one pedestrian in the crosswalk here as this truck starts to speed over 70 miles an hour. Because we know, police believe there is a weapon inside this truck, they definitely will not be giving up this pursuit anytime soon. As we pull out wider here on SkyCal, you can tell that the units are very far behind. It is kind of interesting when he did that U-turn in the intersection and came within feet of the pedestrian, we could see the police unit. So we do know that they are in the area, but they are hanging back in hopes. What they usually hope is that the driver will slow down. But look at this, Mark, more than 70 miles an hour. The only good thing I can say about this is we haven't seen any pedestrians in a little while as he continues here to speed down Obama Boulevard, turning Arlington, I believe, right? Arlington Avenue, exactly.
Yeah, Ross, that's exactly right. You know, this is, we're seeing Friday afternoon traffic. There are a lot of people out right now. You can see right there at the bottom of your screen the LAPD air unit that is going to continue to track this pickup truck. And erratic turns, he doesn't seem to be following any sort of pattern. Sometimes in pursuits, we have seen that drivers like to return to places that they are familiar with. So far, we haven't seen any sort of circular pattern that this driver is in. He has generally been between the Exposition Park and the Crenshaw area, back and forth. It started not too far from here on the 10 freeway, but again, dangerous to go through these neighborhoods at very high speed, especially as you had mentioned before, there is what they believe to be a stolen handgun inside of the vehicle. I still don't have information yet on how many people are inside that vehicle beyond the driver. It could just be a solo driver right now, but those windows look tinted and there aren't any ground units in the area that can possibly see inside of the cabin right now. So it's up to the air commander in that air unit overhead. He's probably got his hands full just tracking this vehicle as it's making so many turns through these residential areas now in the Exposition Park. So again, going right through red lights. This tracking mode, surveillance mode that the LAPD has engaged in this afternoon may not be yielding the results that they're hoping for. It's entirely possible we may see lights and sirens come up behind this pickup truck in the near future.
You know, and Mark, it looks like this is really only escalating. We're above 85 miles an hour now, and you just saw him go through that intersection with multiple cars. The road he's on right now, it's getting busier, and the danger only increasing. You can see how far we are hanging back so we don't interfere, and there on the top of your screen you see LAPD's air unit. They are not going to be giving up this chase, at least not from their chopper anytime soon, now that we believe there is a weapon inside this car, a stolen weapon, if I believe. Again, what we know is that this person driving is wanted for a felony warrant. We know that they were first discovered on the highway and were driving normally, but as soon as the chase began, all this erratic behavior began. Here we are, Mark, now back on the side streets. Thankfully, few people, it appears, out and about this Friday afternoon. That's the good thing as we come to these uncontrolled intersections. That's always one of the more dangerous issues as this truck continues to speed down side streets going 55 miles an hour.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that you had mentioned, very dangerous on these small side streets. SkyCal has now gone to an altitude of about 1,800 feet. The LAPD air unit is at 800 feet. So we have looking about 1,000 feet of difference between the two helicopters. So we're giving plenty of room to the air unit to maneuver to make sure that they can always follow this pickup truck. But I just wanted to note that when SkyCal did zoom outward, a pretty high altitude, we could see a lot of the area around this pickup truck. I did not note any LAPD ground units anywhere near this pickup truck. So they have really backed off quite some distance. But this air unit, as I said, 800 feet altitude, following very closely. So I don't believe they're going to lose sight of this pickup truck anytime soon. The air commander definitely wants to keep it in sight. And as soon as there is any evidence that perhaps this driver might be exiting the vehicle, they are going to direct LAPD units right into where this pursuit stops and take that driver and anyone else in that pickup truck into custody.
You know, as the chase has entered University Park area, Mark, we're just getting information that this does appear to be a stolen vehicle. Whether it was stolen because there's a motorcycle or ATV in the back, that's anyone's guess. We have heard reports that there's a firearm inside the vehicle as well. And here we go now. Turning on here to a 6-lane street, busy traffic, and clearly this driver does not want to be slowed down. Got out of that quickly. Now again speeding down the side streets, going between 10 and 55 miles an hour. Just turned on to South Flower Street here. And you can tell the unit's still following. I think we're getting back onto the highway soon. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, Ross, this is the furthest east that we have come so far in this pursuit. It started over at Washington and Vermont in the Pico Union area, but now we are actually flirting with South LA, just the south side of downtown. The building's a little bit taller here, the street's a little bit more narrow, and there's potentially even more people on the road down here. You can see there's a lot of just two-lane roads here. This is going to escalate the danger and make it a little bit harder for the LAPD air unit to keep track as the buildings get taller, as obviously as you get closer to the downtown area. So again, we may see more lights and sirens come up behind this pickup truck. And you are correct, LAPD now telling us here at the assignment desk, this is described as a stolen pickup truck with a stolen handgun inside. Now, we don't know if the handgun and the truck are from the same owner, but both the firearm and the truck now apparently stolen, and that just makes this pursuit even more dangerous for the LAPD officers that are following.
Yeah, here we are at Central City right now, doing a U-turn. You know, it's always a question when we watch these from up above, whether they're trying to get somewhere specifically, whether they're flying blindly, just hoping to lose the chopper. But Mark, as you know, it is really hard to lose the chopper unless it's a situation like this, where they go under the highway and stay there or get in those tall buildings. But this driver right now, still speeding down the road, still well inside of LAPD, and clearly our chopper, which is very far above the scene, just zoomed in, is still tracking here. Looks like it's slowing down a little bit.
Yeah,
what we're always hoping is that they wear him down by just following far behind, and maybe we're going to get
on the sidewalk there. Yeah. He just cut through that intersection at Maple and 15th on the sidewalk. We are now, I believe, north of the 10 freeway. This is very, very tight roads, lots of heavier traffic here. This is more of an industrialized area. We may be seeing more of those large box trucks in this area. There's going to be lots of cars parked on the sides of the roads here. So we're actually getting into the fashion or the garment district here as well. So very crowded, lots of business being conducted on a Friday, and so it looks like this pickup truck now is going to have to go on the wrong side of the road to get around some of these cars. So really what we're looking at here again is the idea to have the ground units back out to get this driver to calm down does not seem to be working. This driver knows he is being chased by at least one air unit overhead. So still very dangerous this afternoon as the stolen vehicle continues to run from the LAPD.
You know, you just saw it right there. He almost ran head-on into a car as he, again, right here, looks like it was on the sidewalk briefly, on the wrong side of the road. This looks like a Dodge or a Chevy pickup. Again, if you're just joining us, this has been called out as a stolen vehicle. You can see there's something in the back, a motorcycle or an ATV that may have been the motive for the theft. We still don't know. We believe there's a stolen firearm inside this pickup truck. The number of people inside is still unknown by LAPD. When we zoomed in there just a second ago on SkyCal, you can tell that those windows are heavily tinted. Always a problem in these pursuits. It looks like the ground units have backed off considerably to lessen the danger on the ground there, on the road, right there, almost hitting another car. And Mark, it's venturing a little deeper here. A little closer here to some main roads here. Look at this. You know, as these go on, the driver is obviously distracted for so long. The adrenaline is pumping. It just seems to get more and more dangerous as it goes on. They typically, Mark, as you know, they just get more careless, more frantic. Here, it looks like he's going down the wrong way. I'm right here?
Well, yeah, it does appear to be, it's unclear if this is a one-way street or not, but I can tell you, Ross, the command staff at LAPD have been in touch with the watch commander and the commander in the air. They are making the decision to re-engage this pursuit. They are asking for a supervisor in the ground to get in position along with other LAPD units. They have decided that this tracking mode, surveillance mode, is not the right tactic here to get this driver to surrender, so they are going to re-engage with lights and sirens. The only reason I think we haven't seen it yet is because they did want a supervisor of some kind to be a part of this pursuit somewhere at the front of the pursuit. So that's what they are getting into position for here. So that means that we're going to see a much more aggressive now tack from the LAPD as they try and get this driver to surrender. This is very dangerous, continues to be, you had remarked, wrong side of the road, up on the sidewalk here. Incredible that there has not been a collision yet. Just a few minutes ago, I thought as he was making a left turn, it looked like he may have actually bumped one of the cars there because it stopped in the intersection. It was hard to tell because it was in the shadow, but we may be seeing more of those near misses here because look at all of these cars that are now on the road here in this area. I'm going to check the map here in the radar. It looks like we are now closer towards southeast part of downtown. We're actually getting into Vernon. Now, Vernon, very industrialized area, almost entirely industrial. If he continues in a southeast sort of direction, he is going to be entirely in a warehouse and industrial capacity district. So even more large trucks and large buildings to navigate here.
Well, you see he's on the wrong side of the road there, as we saw a cement mixer and large trucks coming in that direction towards the vehicle. Obviously, a dangerous situation. The only good thing about being in this part of town, Mark, is that they're relatively low buildings and easier for LAPD to track. We've seen this before where people will bail and then run into a large warehouse with all sorts of dozens of people inside and try to confuse the situation. But LAPD has their eyes on this stolen vehicle, and they are tracking it very well. It's a good thing, obviously, that he's never stopped or turned around while under the highway. He's crossed over several times. The speed, again, reaching, the chase reaching speeds, again, above 70 miles an hour. Again, we know that there is a stolen weapon in the car. That's what we believe. This is a stolen vehicle. This pursuit has been going for at least 15 minutes. And as Mark just said, LAPD is now about to re-engage on the ground.
Yeah, so we have headed north now. This is actually, now we're on the east side of downtown, continuing to follow. We have not yet seen those lights and sirens behind, but we do know that they are trying to get into position. Slightly less traffic, I think, and a little bit wider road here that we're looking at. This is East 7th Street as it proceeds. I think we are heading eastbound towards perhaps the Boyle Heights area. So we'll see if he's going to cross over one of the bridges of the river here. But yeah, just continuous dangerous driving. LAPD hoping that this driver will surrender. I still don't have a good read on the number of people inside of this pickup truck, but we are now quite far from where it started in the Pico Union area as he continues to wind his way through here. Wrong side of the road again. Very aggressive behavior. We have seen this driver willing to do this 7, 8, 9 times already here in this pursuit. Now making a turn onto 8th Street. So continuing to float sort of here on the east side of downtown. This is the furthest northeast that we have seen this pursuit this afternoon. But no intention of stopping here at all, not even slowing down, Ross. And again, we haven't seen this driver stick to any one particular area. He is quite far from, the Exposition Park, Jefferson Park area that we first saw him in about 20 minutes. Now here on the east side of downtown, not going in circles, not really going in any direction. He seems to be just making random turns here without any clear idea of where he wants to go. Yeah, and the danger is only increasing here on East Olympic with all the businesses there and the people. I think that was a baby carriage just getting into the crosswalk right there. At least here on this road, there seem to be fewer pedestrians and fewer businesses right there on the street. As you mentioned, this all started on Washington and Vermont about 20 minutes ago. If you're just joining us, police began the chase there of this stolen pickup truck. At least obviously one person inside, the exact number unknown, a stolen gun inside. At one point, right there, here we got it, he's bailed. Looks like we have just, and there's those LAPD units. As we said, lights and sirens had come up right behind. That looks like it was only the driver inside of the car. On the other street right there. And right into a building there. It looks like it's some sort of commercial building. And LAPD units are now going to work to surround that building. They're going to set up a perimeter. They're going to cover all the entrances and exits here as they look for that. It looked like an adult man in dark clothing who ran right into that. Looks like Americargo Express is the marquee on that building. And now they are going to begin looking inside. I do not know if there are any ways in or out of this structure on either side of it. It may just be a front door and a back door. Many of these industrial or commercial buildings here don't have access to the businesses on either side. So there may only be 2 entrances and exits here for that business. It's really interesting, Mark. We saw very briefly one of the officers actually somewhat casually walking in there. I wonder if they believe that when he bailed that this person is not armed. It wasn't the usual stance we see when they're dealing with an armed suspect. SkyCal way ahead of us looking on the other side. Where this person would have to come out because we know police are on the backside. Oh, they're on both sides now. Yeah, there were plenty of LAPD officers that were trailing this pursuit, and now you can see they're going to go towards what they believe was the last place they saw that suspect. I did not see anyone come out of that front door. It looks like they are focusing the majority of their efforts on the inside of that business. I'm listening to some radio traffic from the air unit. They're describing as a male, adult, black hat, black clothes. Yeah, he was pretty heavily dressed, covered from head to toe, running inside this building. There have got to be about 8 or 9 officers that we've seen go in. This is actually a pretty large response on both sides of this warehouse that this man has run into. And, obviously a dangerous situation here. We know that there was a stolen gun in that truck. The truck itself was stolen. This chase has gone on for more than 20 minutes. Obviously someone who is careless when it comes to the safety of others and could do just about anything. Always a difficult situation for officers when they run into a building. They don't know the layout. That suspect may know. This may be a friend, a relative's business, his place of work. Who knows? It's a great unknown for officers. It's probably pretty complicated and dark in there. You can see that there are boxes and pallets just about everywhere. We're waiting to hear now. We see an officer with a long gun. Yeah, now, Russ, I'm listening to real-time radio traffic from the air unit. They have not given a code 4 here. That would be the police code for suspect in custody, all clear. They have not actually, I just heard it a second ago. I heard the word suspect in custody, which was good to hear because I did see one of those officers enter that business with a shield, which would have said to me that this possibly could have been a barricade. But as you can see now, LAPD officers walking out in a much more relaxed capacity. I do believe that that means that this suspect has been safely taken into custody.
Well, that is the best news we've had in 25 minutes. Mark Liu at the assignment desk. This chase, 25 minutes long with a pickup truck, stolen, one suspect, a weapon involved, now coming to an end. Of course, we'll continue to follow this breaking story, and we get more details that helps to explain all of this madness. We'll get it right out to you.